and welcome to the Raw Vegan Guru channel, where my exceptional, amazing technological advances give the perfect element of lighting and sound and understanding in my super kitchen. So here at the Raw Vegan Guru channel, we are raising our health consciousness, and we are doing that one thought at a time, one action at a time, and one meal at a time. So today I am going to be doing something that I have done before and I have always wanted to make a video about, because in a former life, or possibly as of now, living in a parallel universe or timeline, I am connected greatly to the Middle East. And I specifically am very drawn to India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. So I have been researching and learning and consuming these cuisines for quite some time. And coming into the raw vegan game, it was very challenging to find that balance, because I do have my exceptions, which I've discussed before, where I will eat a cooked Afghan or Indian, usually primarily Northern Indian. I'm just drawn there. So we'll find out as I do former life comprehension and regressions. But I am not eating the cooked foods. I have a response to the cooked foods. The rice, it's delicious. I love it. Naan bread, whoa. It's just that I can't do it all the time. So I've been playing around, and I have created my own version of Chana Masala. That's my go-to chana. So when I go to a northern influenced Indian restaurant, sometimes I'll do a vindaloo, but really there's only a few things going on. It's like the structure. Chai tea, of course we know, without the milk, but gotta talk to people. And then we're gonna do the naan bread, total exception to the whole vegan life, because I never do that. And we're gonna go Chana Masala. And then they're gonna say, oh, how would you like the heat on that? And that's usually using a chili for the spice for the heat element, which is optional. A lot of people get confused and think that Indian foods mean spicy, and it does not at all. It means utilizing spice, but not that it's spicy. That's an option that you can do here at home or request in the restaurant. So when they say, would you like a 1 through 10 on the spice chart for heat, I usually say 20. And then they might say, really? And I'm like, no, seriously, yeah. So the Chana Masala, that's my go-to. One of my favorite things in the world is to go to an Indian restaurant and to sit for hours, slowly absorbing the atmosphere, the energy, and the grounding that I get from this dish and atmosphere, and all of the vibrational elements of the spices, and the love that is always in these kitchens. So today, this is going to be my version of the raw Chana Masala. Now, if you get online and you look at other YouTube videos, or you look at recipes listed in cookbooks, for example. So I have a great, one of my favorite vegan, let's see my lighting, vegan recipe books. And this is by a Mrs. Singla, Vegan Indian Cooking. So I just take a lot of these different ideas and recipes, and sometimes when I'm feeling crazy, I'll do the cooked version. Usually in the winter is when I'm kind of drawn to that more, with squashes and whatnot. And then otherwise, I'm going to take these concepts and these spice blends, and I'm going to do my raw version. So let's get into the first things that we're going to prepare to make this dish. Is we're going to have our chickpeas, our chana. So we need to soak those, since we're going to be doing this raw. And soaking or chickpeas, can be quite different for some people. I have had it going on within a few days, and I've had it a little bit longer. So what you want to look for is when it gets that little white tail there. I don't know about my high-tech studio lighting. So it has that little tail, if you can see here. So what I do is I take the dry chickpea, and then I'll put it in a container like this or a bowl, and I'll fill it with water, not tap water. I never use tap water because all the contaminants and different issues and how they're trying to block our pineal gland and destroy our spiritual connection to higher source. So I never do that. So I'm going to use fresh spring water, and then after the first night, I'm going to drain that out, and I'm going to then put in new water. I'm going to repeat that process for a couple of days until I can see that these are starting to get a little tender and they're sprouting their little wiggly tail. That's when I know I'm done. So that's going to be one of the first most important things to do. Then we're going to talk about the spice blend itself. So now, masala, spice blend. When you want to talk about Pakistan, or you want to talk about India, or Iran, all of these different regions and all of these different areas have their own spice blends. Now, what's interesting about when one says garam masala, and somebody might think that means a specific blend of spices, but that's actually not accurate. So these spice blends, like for example the garam masala that would be utilized in the chana masala dish, is very much based on region and area and influence for certain herbs to be utilized, or what would be easier access. And then you also have the twist of family input and recipes. So that's why I love always talking to anybody I can from these different areas of the world, or who know about these cuisines and what their lineage is individually, specifically with their families, and what they bring into their mixes. So some bring in so many different elements that others leave out. And so you really can play around with what works for you. Or you might be able to just find a recipe online and it hits it on the head and you say, oh, that's exactly how I like my chana. Now, I've eaten chana masala in Indian restaurants around the country, and I can tell you that I know I can connect with and taste all of the different spice blends that are used in these recipes. Sometimes it's very interesting. Somebody might bring in mustard. I particularly don't use mustard seed. Some will bring in the mango powder. I personally don't use. So all of these different elements happen, and it's always such an adventure and a journey, and so exciting and amazing. So I'm just going to tell you what I do. So I'm going to be doing some coriander. This is going to be in my sauce. Now, if we were to make chana masala traditionally, cooking it on the stovetop or in a pressure cooker, we would be doing this all very different. So this is the raw version. I have my turmeric, my black pepper, as I always say, peanut butter and jelly. What you're going to do with your turmeric without your black pepper, that's not going to be cool. Then I have some cayenne pepper, ground. I'm going to bring in some Carolina Reaper. I was looking for my ghost chili. I have it in a sauce. I might add that after because I get crazy with the heat. But for this blending today on the video, I'm going to go with the Reaper. I'm going to also have some cinnamon, some garlic, some minced garlic, some cardamom, some cumin, and some ginger. Now, I also do have a locally made organic garam masala blend. And this one has clove in it. So I was going to bring a little bit of that in because I like a little bit of clove in my chana. This is cumin, and this is cardamom. So very simple, not the usual garam masala blends that I would get or utilize. And then a lot of times I just like to play around and make my own. So that is going to be for my sauce. We will start that in a moment. Now for the rice, the raw rice, the base of the dish for your plating, it's kind of like the foundation and the structure that all of the goodness is going to sit on. And then as you move and groove, you're going to mix that together. So for my raw rice, I was trying to speed up the timing of this video, so I didn't do this now. I prepared it just a few minutes ago before getting on here to the big studio time. So this is ground, food process. I parade it in the food processor. So I have a old school, really nice, like 70s food processor. It's got a nice size to it. And I just basically took the organic cauliflower and I cut it in florets, and then I chopped it, a slop, chop, chop, chop. It was like nice and loose. It didn't matter how that was cut. Threw it into the food processor, ground it up to my liking. So you can have a kind of more pebbly, small, kind of consistent cauliflower, or the more that you go on your breakdown, you can have it more like a fine cauliflower rice. So I kind of did a little in between. I have some chunkers in there, but again, you know, when it comes to cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, etc., really great, of course, and it's so good for you, and it helps you in so many different ways, especially in the digestive region for our biome balance. But what was I gonna even say about that? Oh yeah. So I like to grind it up a little bit more fine so it's easier to digest. Now with this today, you can see this is a little orange and not white, is because I used fresh turmeric root inside of my blend. Now I'm a big turmeric advocate for its amazing magical healing properties, and I love the taste, and I bring in the turmeric, the fresh turmeric, nearly every day. So that's why it's got a little orangey hue to it. But you can just do the cauliflower on its own, and again, just pulsate it to the grind and the consistency that you would like. So that's going to be my base when we do our plating. So now for my sauce, what we would say a Chana Masala gravy. I'm going to just use a blender. This is just a simple blender, nothing special. I would like the Vitamix or something, but that's not going on today. So now I'm going to get my nice, beautiful, organic tomatoes here. And I'm just going to cut them kind of slop, chop, chop, chop. It's not going to be anything special. And I'm not going to really spend too much time on this. Also, just to let you know, before I began the video, I also diced up some red onion because we're going to be incorporating that. And I also did prepare some finely chopped cilantro. I love cilantro. That is one of my favorite herbs on the planet. I could eat, which I have, by the way, an entire salad that was just cilantro. It was like a cilantro salad. You know, there was some tomatoes going on in there. And I always do some spices, but that's what it was. Some sprouts. I topped it with some sprouts. So people might say, whoa, that's a lot of cilantro. And I was saying, I don't think so. I think it was pretty delicious. And it's so good for you. And I really am all about drawing out and detoxifying from those heavy metal pollutants, which cilantro helps us with. Not to mention the minerals and vitamins that we're gaining. But there aren't a lot of things. Of course, you can do your regimens, as I say. I'm always doing my herbal concoctions for my healings. But cilantro is such a very potent and powerful tool and medicine to really get those heavy metals out of the body. And heavy metals, we've got that going on in pharmaceuticals, we've got it going on in the air because they're doing the chemtrail thing. And if anybody thinks that's a conspiracy, then they should look into it, because it really is something that they're doing to destroy humanity and dumb us down. So then you also have the pollutants in the water, these heavy metals. It's so important to do the organic, because also you have the heavy metals are going on in different ways in delivery in the foods. So we're being bombarded by elements that are major bummers. So we have to do everything we can to rid these things from our body and to do what's right by cosmic light source. All right, so I have got my tomato right there, bam. Now, a lot of times, I'm not going to say specific amounts of things. Like I have said before, this isn't like a bake and a cake show. I'm just real organic, and I'm going to do things to taste, and I'm going to check it out, figure it out. I'm going to find out. So I've got my onion here. Here is my blender. So look at that. We got like a 75% fill line on tomato. These are my measurements. And then I'm going to do about, I'd say about a quarter cup, it looks like, in there. So that gives you an idea. Then I'm going to do kind of like a grabbing. That's the way to put it, right? A little more pinch than the grabbing on the cilantro, okay? Then I'm going to bring in my sea salt. Now you can use black salt, Indian black salt, and that has a very unique and distinct flavor that is exceptional. But I really benefit from all of the different unique elements of Himalayan pink sea salt. So whenever it comes to salt, even though I have other salts, that's what I'm using. So I'm going to do a little thick pinch and a little small pinch after that. Very little amount. All right, so now we're going to get into our spices for our sauce. So here I have my ginger, and I'm going to do by measurement. This is just going to be a bit of different things. This is going to be about a half of a teaspoon. Just about a half of a teaspoon. Then I'm going to do my cumin. That's going to be, I would say, about a teaspoon. So a little heavier, but you don't want to dominate. You want all of these flavors to really blend and work together. So it is just a big symphony of amazing Indian goodness. Now I'm going to do about a half teaspoon again on the cardamom. This is green cardamom. Black cardamom, play around with that. Check things out. That has a different flavor, definitely more depth, not as nutty or sweet. So I'm very used to my green. So now I have my cayenne pepper. So I'm just going to little shaky shake, because I'm just going to bring in a little bit of that heat, and I'll probably deal with the real deal heat after the video, because I'm trying to make this simple for people in the audience, because I know not everybody wants the heat. So now I'm going to do a little dit of the Carolina Reaper. So that's a little, very little, goes a far way. Now I have my cinnamon. Now cinnamon, beautiful, amazing, I love it, but you have to be cautious because it's almost like clove. It can bring in something really warm and great, but you can also go overboard. And then you cinnamified. So you're like, hey, I love cinnamon, but whoa, that's a lot of cinnamon. It's kind of like salt or even black pepper. You can do it, and it is a delicate, party. And then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, that's too much. Ooh, next time I'll do it different. So for my cinnamon, ooh, this is what I mean. You got to be careful with that cinnamon. This is no laughing matter. I'm going to do about a fourth of a teaspoon. So now let me get that back in here, because that's some serious stuff. We do not want to simplify. All right. So now I'm going to get into my turmeric. I'm going to go with a little bit more. Now, yeah, I have my raw turmeric in my rice, but that's just my own thing. That's my own little ad. This is our Chana Masala gravy, or Chana Masala sauce. So we're going to bring in that turmeric. I'm going to do a kind of heaping teaspoon here. And then I'm going to do a low end teaspoon again. So I did a heaper, and then I did maybe a flat line, kind of simplified. All right. Got to bring in the black pepper. I'm going to do that by eye, but it's got to be close to probably a fourth of a teaspoon as well. You don't want to dominate, but you want to activate that turmeric. Now I'm going to get into my coriander. I figure on that measurement, it's going to be about a low end teaspoon. Just about. Let me think. Yeah, like a thin, loosely placed teaspoon. It's not going to be that much, because again, you don't want to dominate with that, but you want it to come through. So now I'm going to get into my garam masala. The reason for this, why I'm using this, is because of that clove. So I'm going to do a thick fat pinch, and then just a little guy for good luck. Bam. All right. So that's looking good for me. Now I'm going to do some garlic. I have this organic diced garlic. I'm going to do about a tablespoon. And actually, that's going to finish this off, so that's perfect. Now, I love garlic. I love to bring the garlic in. I don't mind if it's very pronounced. The raw garlic is such a different benefit than, roasted or heated garlic. It's a whole different ball game. So that is my garlic. Bam. So that is looking groovy. Now I'm going to bring in some lemon, because I dig the lemon. Just a little bit. Again, I cut these nice circle wheels, so it makes it easy for my lemon squeezer. And this is just going to bring a little zip. We do not want to say, how is your Chana lemon gravy? So this is just a little bit. And you could also do that with lime. That's just going to be a nice flavor in there. Now again, this is my raw version. I'm just trying to give you a foundation and a basis to understand how you can go about making this amazing Northern Indian Pakistani dish. Origins Northern Indian, but it has spread out throughout. It's very popular throughout Asia. So now for my water, I have my copper water vessel, and I do a lot of my manifestation techniques through this water, speaking into this water. So this is all love right here. I'm going to add water to this. Now I'm already going to get a water element from my tomato. So I'm adding just maybe about a half there. And I want this gravy, this Chana Masala sauce, to be as thick as I can make it. That's how I would like it. A little thick. I don't want it so much runny and watery, but we're going to see what happens. You can also bring one or two soaked sun-dried tomatoes into it as well. That would not be a bad idea. That gives it a little bit more richness and depth as well. So let's see, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're doing it, we're doing it. I don't know, we'll see, we'll see. One more time, let's do it, let's do it. All right. Let's see what happens. Now, the color is not going to be like in the restaurant where you see that beautiful red. I would say if somebody said, what's your favorite shade of red, or what would you like to paint something in red, I would say a Chana Masala red. That's what I would say, because that red, it's almost like a maroon, but it's lighter. It's just perfect. It's exquisite. So my sauce does not have that color because of the turmeric, so it's got a little bit of that orange. So let's taste it. Let's see what's up. Okay. Let's see what's happening. What's happening? All right. So I'm going to personally bring in a little more cardamom, just because I really like the cardamom to come through. I don't want anything to dominate, but I want it to come through. All right. That is good. I'm going to bring in a little more heat. We're going to go Carolina Reaper. Now, when it comes to the heat element of an Indian dish, or what I should say is with this chana, you can use the different chilies. I have chilies from around the world. I have South American chilies. I also have African chilies. But I try to stay primarily to the types of chilies that I see in other Indian recipes. So that's why I did the cayenne today, and the Carolina Reaper, because it's kind of paralleled, connected to the ghost chili, which would be or could be incorporated. So I brought in a little bit more of my spices to taste. And actually, while I'm talking, I realized I'm going to do just another little pinch of the sea salt. I'm going to also come in with a little bit more cilantro. I know it could use that. That should be about the deal. And I want to get that really finely blended together, and then I'll get ready for our plating. So let me get a big spoon. Here's my big spoon. All these tools. All right. So I think that's going to bring this all together. Let's find out. Oh, that's perfect. It's got a little bit of heat. I really can taste that cumin, that coriander. The cardamom comes through a little. It's kind of like a slow Sunday drive. I really am into that. The black pepper is not too dominant. So as you can see, I'm always doing this organic process. It's not specific, but I'm playing around, and that comes through your taste, that comes through experience, and then also you can play that off of the recipes that you might read elsewhere or see on videos. They used a half teaspoon, maybe you use a quarter. Find your way, just like life itself. We are all individuals, but yet connected to the collective consciousness. So as an individual, I have my Chana Masala raw recipe, but it is definitely connected to the Chana Masala. All right. So for my plating, what I'm going to do here, I have a little bowl. I am going to take my beautiful turmeric cauliflower raw rice, and I'm going to be doing a bedding of this raw rice in my dish. Oh, this looks beautiful. This is absolutely going to be beautiful. Now I'm going to have my bowl of my sprouted chickpeas. I'm going to pour my gravy, my Chana Masala gravy, into this container, because I'm going to really coat all of these beautiful sprouted chickpeas. I love sprouted chickpeas. It's probably my favorite legume, my favorite bean to sprout. I love sprouting lentils too, but it has such a different thing going on. It's probably, again, because of my connections to the Middle Eastern cuisines, the chickpea. So let's see. Oh, that is perfect. Now, here's a little trick. If you put this raw sauce over your sprouted chickpea, put a top on it, put it in the fridge, the chickpeas will start to absorb the sauce and it'll start to soften them up even more. You can go 1, maybe up to 3 days, and that really changes the game too. That gives it a lot smoother, easier, kind of like overall absorption and characteristics of this sauce over your raw cauliflower. So now I'm going to just spoon my beautiful sprouted chickpeas with my very freshly raw tomato chana sauce that we did together here today in my insanely new age incredible kitchen studio. So here I have my beautiful chana over my cauliflower turmeric rice. And this is what I learned in a restaurant in San Jose, California, when I used to speak with the cooks all the time there. And they were from Pakistan, but they had learned about how to plate this dish in a true, authentic Northern Indian style. So what you would do there, and I can't eat Chana Masala without it, is you're going to take your raw onion, just a little bit, and you're going to garnish the top here of your dish. So you're going to sprinkle that around, some nice, crispy, crunchy, raw onion. And then you're going to take a little pinch, I go fat pinch because of my cilantro issues, on top. So let's see if we can get some crazy visual here on the raw Chana Masala. So that is changing the game when it comes to living the raw life. And when one says, I love these different foods, but they're not raw. What I always do is I adapt all of these different recipes into the raw game. And I've been surprising myself as I move along because it really does work, and it blows my mind, and it takes me away from that temptation or that possibility of thinking one day when we, are a little bit weaker, let's say, in our regiments or our outlook, or we start to fall off our course or our path, and we're like, I'm just gonna do this, I'm just gonna do that. But for me in the raw life, when I do this and the that, like a raw vegan pizza, I'm in there. But after, I better have some peppermint and spearmint going on, because I got digestive issues, I got discomfort, and I brought it upon myself because I know these cooked foods, these heavier foods, they're beautiful, they're amazing. I love to cook in the kitchen. I love all cuisines from around the world. I have a passion for all of the ingredients and learning as much as I can. But if I can make a raw version of it, then I can smoothly keep on moving forward, and I'm not going to have any bumps in the road. So I might do a cooked dish of some sort, and that's fine. You can't live inside of a box. You got to expand yourself and, allow for changes, of course, all in balance. It's just that the response my system will have, because it's not used to it, I have to take into account. So it's usually the next whole day I'm like, trying to come back into myself because of those consequences. So the raw dishes are definitely an approach to not cutting yourself off from all of the amazing, beautiful foods from around the world, or just from around your own personal journey and mind and heart for what you connect with. So my Chana Masala raw, bam! I'm so excited. So thank you so much for being here today with me. And I always appreciate all the support that I have with my subscribers. And please hit the like button, share this video with other vegans, expose them to this crazy raw vegan guy. And subscribe to my channel. Also check me out. I'm on Rumble. Also Raw Joshua Consultations on Instagram. So I love to see people join the health consciousness community that I am a part of and trying to expand and build just by being me and you being you. So again, tell your friends, leave any comments. If you have any questions at all, anything to say, leave it below. I'll come back to you. As a incredibly horrific, horrible, I don't know what to say, clone once said, I'll circle back and I'll talk with you about it. So thank you so much. I appreciate all your support and your love. And I really hope that you try this recipe and you love it. And if you've got some tweaks and changes within it or different ideas, send it my way, send it our way. Let the people know. Thank you so much. Love and light. Bye.